It started out as a very normal day, rushing out the door, getting, my daughter to school, getting to work, a lot of loan documents that day, I remember. And one thing really stood out during the day is a gentleman came in that just seemed odd. And that was really the only thing that stood out. And after he left, I didn't think anything else about it. Before making dinner, I thought it would be a good idea to just relax on the couch and have a little fun. And we sat down on the couch and she took my boots off and we were just laughing and giggling. And the next thing I heard was the most unbelievable loud thundering sound, just one big crash or boom or just thundering sound that I cannot explain in words, and turned in the direction of that noise and saw them coming in, SWAT style, all dressed in black, and masks and guns, and wood was everywhere, and they had kicked in the door and broke right through the lock and everything. And when I turned towards Bria, who was to my left at the time, she was running towards the bedroom, and before I could even get up and go to move with her, it was that quick that they grabbed me by my hair and put guns to my head and forced me face down on the floor. They were saying, do you know why we're here? We know that you're the manager of the bank down the street. We are going to be here with you all night long until you get it into your head that exactly what we want you to do. You're going to clean out the vault for us, or your daughter will be murdered and you will watch and you will be next. I was just asking them, where is my daughter? Where is she? And I'll do anything. They were asking me questions and saying, we already know the answers. We're checking to see if you're going to lie to us. So was when they began asking questions about, when does Brinks drop off money in the morning? We need you to get this much money. How much money's in the vault? They had been casing the bank and me for 2 months. They had a duffel bag filled with ammunition, they all had guns, and the ringleader pulled out a bag and came over and pulled out what looked like dynamite, sticks of dynamite, and said, what does this look like? And I said, it looks like dynamite. And he said, that's exactly what it is. And we're going to put these on your body. We're going to put these on your daughter's body, and showed us a detonation device and said, if you do not do every single thing we tell you to do and do everything right with no mistakes, you will disintegrate. My roommate came in and they grabbed her and drug her into her room and told her that they were gonna blow her head off if she did not cooperate. The ringleader came over and stood over me at about 6:30 and said, time to get up, time to get ready for work. And they said, it's time to put it on your daughter. And they did the same thing to her. That's when she really started to tear up, because it was so painful. Mommy, it hurts. Mommy, it hurts. What are they putting on me? I didn't want to tell, of course I wasn't going to say it's explosives. I said, it's just something so that they'll be able to keep track of where you are, and everything's going to be okay. I just remember him grabbing my arm and saying, time to go to work. And I stood up and I turned and just started walking towards the door, and I could hear her screaming, going, no, Mommy, no, don't leave me. And just wailing and crying for the first time. And with every step that I took towards the door, it was fading. When I walked into the bank and went immediately over to my desk. I opened up that right-hand drawer and I saw his cards sitting there. I brought one of my employees in there with me because everything's in dual control. I had to tell her, this is what's going on, this is what happened all night. I lifted my shirt, I showed her the dynamite on my back and said, if there's any kind of serial numbers or any kind of distinctive markings, write it down as evidence, and please wait until I call you and I know my daughter's alive before you call the police or we might be blown up. She began to panic. I actually had to calm her down and say, just calm down, you can do this. Call corporate security, do not call the police. My daughter's in a closet, my roommate's duct taped with dynamite. Please do not do anything that is going to jeopardize our lives any further. I didn't know how much money I was grabbing. I didn't know how much money I was giving them. I had absolutely no idea. So I come out of the bank and I throw the duffel bag full of money into the passenger seat. At this point, I had been away from my daughter for approximately an hour, and getting into my car and driving with the stick still on my back, not knowing if she's dead or alive, what am I gonna find when I get home, wanting to get there as fast as I could, wanting to alert anybody at the stoplights that I could, and just, there's so many things going through my mind, and I had to drive past the bank to get back to my house, which was only about 2 miles away. So, and driving up the back roads and through the windy roads to get home, and as soon as I drove up, my roommate's car was gone. They had barricaded the front door with the chairs, and I just had to struggle my way in and scream, hello, hello, and that's when I heard my daughter say, Mommy, we're back here. I ran into the bedroom, and my daughter was still curled up in the closet. My roommate was still on the bed, and I immediately ran to my daughter, just grabbing her face and kissing her, and said, is the dynamite still on you? No, Mommy, they took it off. But she still had duct tape on her hands and her feet. So I immediately began to get that off of her feet and her hands, and then we both began to untape and unduct tape my roommate, who was on the bed. And I told them, the dynamite's still on me. You guys need to go for help. You guys go for help. I'll stay here. I don't know if this thing's gonna detonate. I don't know what's gonna happen. And my daughter was going, no, Mommy, no, I'm not leaving you. My roommate said, Michelle, they took it off of our bodies so fast. They just carelessly ripped it off of our bodies. I know I can do this. And I was saying, no, just go run for help. And she's like, let me just cut it off of you. And at that point, I just wanted it off my body. I was saying, just take it off of me, just get it off of me. And she ran and got scissors and cut it off of me and took the duct tape and the dynamite and put it outside on the retaining wall. And we ran to the neighbors for help. Began recalling a lot of detail, and the FBI and the police were really, really happy. But I immediately began to tell them to cover my desk and get the card out of the right-hand drawer of my desk, that I know that one of the people who did this to us was a man named Christopher Butler. I survived because I'm my daughter's mother. And I survived because there's so much more life to live for me.